we're gonna hit this thing hard, and we'll get it on the rollers in the next day.
All right, guys, we are just getting finished wrapping this VQ37 up. A pretty standard build. This is for Patrick. You can see that we've done the powder-coated front and rear covers on this thing. Gives it a nice, really, clean and simple look. Looks elegant, and again, this one will be powered by a fast attentions twin turbo kit. The Stage Seb turbos on it, and pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. Your standard, forged rods and pistons. We're keeping the compression ratio on the lower side. I like to do that. We can maximize power on low octane, and I find that it's probably better to prevent the head lift as well in certain situations. So standard MLS head gasket, ARP CA 625 studs, and yeah, I can't wait. So we'll get Patrick's car in, get it all torn apart, get the turbo kit on the brand new motor, and we'll hit the ground running essentially. So basically the same thing that we did for that white Nismo 370Z. This one we got to start off with a fresh sheet in terms of that engine. This engine's never had any machining done. That previous engine that we did for Ryan is essentially a rebuild on top of somebody else's work. So I always like to start off with something fresh and minimize any issues, because we did run into a couple little things on Ryan's. Somebody had stripped out the head bolt threads in the block, so we got to get all that stuff repaired. So stuff like that. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it's never fun, right? Especially when you're putting your name on it. So excited for Patrick and excited to get this thing on the rollers, and we'll get it on the road.
All right, guys, we've got two really nice R32 GTRs. This one is specially Mechanics cars in for coolant leak, and oddly enough, so was the blue one. So we've addressed the blue one. We're also doing a timing belt service on the blue one. This one, we've fixed the leak, nothing too serious, and we're gonna be adding a Greddy boost controller to this bad boy. So we'll get this installed. It already has a Nistune ECU in it. So factory ECU, it's got a Nistune board in it, Type 2. We've tuned this car before, only making about 7-8 pounds of boost. So now we're gonna go ahead and be able to make a little bit more, and we'll crank it up. And for the money, these are one of my favorite boost controllers. Really easy to use. I love the OLED screen that these bad boys have, and they're just easy to use for the customer too. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist like with some other stuff. So we're gonna hit this thing hard, and we'll get it on the rollers in the next day. All right, guys, we've just wrapped up the install of the Greddy Profect boost controller. Got our solenoid mounted where the factory one was. We got the Greddy sensor and brain mounted right there off the strut tower. Real nice, clean little install. We've run a new line for our wastegates. Make sure we don't have any issues with getting a good clean signal to those wastegates. And then let's go work our way inside. Nice little simple mounting, easy to see it while you're driving, and if you need to adjust it, you can very easily. So really cool. Let's go take a look. All right, and there we have it. Not reading anything, let's go ahead and we'll start it up. Closely matches the color of the factory clock. This is definitely a little bit brighter, but works really well right there. All right, so let's go hit the dyno, guys. We'll run this thing with the boost controller off, see where it's at, double check everything, and then we'll start to turn our duty cycle up. we've gone ahead, we've wrapped up our tuning and getting that boost controller dialed in. Really straightforward, really easy to use. We compared our last dyno results, which was just basically just at 8 pounds of boost. We've got our boost up to about 14 now, so a good 6-pound increase. And with that, we're making some good power. So peak power is up a little over 60 wheel. We're up to 323. We were about 270 before. And right at peak boost areas, we're almost at 70 wheel and close to 70 torque as well. So definitely waking this bad boy up. We don't want to go any further than that for a couple of reasons, because of the turbine wheels being ceramic and of course our 91 octane. So really good increase. This will definitely wake up this bad boy. Let's go take it out on the street, see what it makes for boost. Always want to compare it because the way it gets loaded on the street is a little different than it gets loaded on the dyno. So that way we can make sure our boost is where it needs to be in third gear. All right, guys, we didn't talk much about this one. This is a 24 GTR. Customer brought it in, essentially wanted us to first see what it was making for power. This car had been modified previously, and it has the HKS turbo kit on it. I'm not positive which one, but you can see it's got a bunch of bolt-on goodies. Stock engine, it's got a Shep trans in it, but what's really cool with this car is it actually was once owned and it was modified by Tim Duncan, the NBA basketball player. Used to play for the San Antonio Spurs. So this was his personal GTR. Our customer owns it now, and we were just doing a health check on it, little tune-up. Got on the dyno, we saw that it was only making about mid-5s on E85. It had a Cobb tune on it, and even bumping up to the secondary map, still wasn't making any more power. So we got our hands in, did a few little changes, got rid of the ID 2000 injectors, didn't really need those huge injectors. It had an old AMS fuel system that was past its prime now. The socks were disintegrated. You know, ethanol is really, really hard, and the fuel system wiring that had been installed was getting really, really hot. So we were running out of fuel even on 91 octane. So thankfully we were able to clean all that stuff up, get rid of it. Was popular at the time, was external Bosch 044s. You can run them in the tank, but that's what it had, just to give you an idea. So we cleaned all that up, cleaned up the wiring, put it back to stock, and we added the Visconti fuel pump wiring upgrade to it. We also did Visconti Stage 2 fuel pump assembly with 2 of the Walbro 525 Hellcat pumps, and all our fueling issues are gone. Plenty of injector for, again, a stock engine. We're just almost 900 wheel, about 870 and change, and really comfortable where we would leave it right there. You can see that we're running just a hair out of turbo at the very top. It peaks and then it starts to drop off a little bit. But all in all, it did really well. This will be a totally different car for our customer to drive now, because you know, essentially we're making almost 300 wheel more than what he's used to. So if he thought it was somewhat fast before, it's definitely going to be a hell of a lot faster now. So we're gonna go fill it up, fully 85, take it for a little drive, and see how it does.